Hello, hello, hello. I think I'm live. Yeah. I do need to remember to turn myself up whenever I gotta move the mic back. Yeah, like this. Cause I kind of have a weird setting here on my little Focusrite audio input box. Oh baby. Hope no one noticed that. Running an ad break. It gives me extra time to get set up. You're a very sleepy boy today. I think right when the stream starts, though, is probably the best time for an ad break. Oh. Very sniffy, too. So here we go. Preset view. Alright, nice. What am I doing? I'm trying to mess with my stream layout live on stream. I don't know what I'm doing. How do I save it? I have no idea. Oh, I guess it just saved, even though I didn't click save. Very cool. Huh. Anyways, config manager, don't need it. I can start running this. So kind of like what I was saying at the very start of the week. I think I can get this done. The entire save system rewrites. I can get this done in about a week. About a week of like not really like committing to anything. Non-committed working, I suppose. So, I think we're almost there. This doesn't do anything. So we can't update presets. And then creating the UI info display. Preset info display. What does this look like? I haven't seen this in a good minute. UI preset view. Preset info display. Okay, very cool. Hey. Huh. Let me see. Preset name, and these are all input labels. Oh no, I'm gonna have to change this in the future, aren't I? Oh no. I'm trying to avoid doing the GUI refactor just yet. But it might come sooner rather than later. Oh, prepare your butt cheeks. Okay. So where is our HBox container with our save and load? Okay, so this is where this is. Create preset info display. all this takes is data. Alright, so toggle name cannot have... Alright, so what if... So toggle name presets cannot have a period in it. I remember this from yesterday. Yeah. Right, because toggle names... Yeah, so the toggle name will not have any periods, whereas my preset data will have periods. And so you can kind of see here, so not this one, this one. So node names cannot have periods in them. And I believe they also cannot have dashes in them. Let me check that really quick. So preset view, left container, margin, outer, inner. Let me see. No, we can have dashes, just can't have periods. So I'll need to go into each preset and ooh, it's a bit tough. Oh, yeah. So I need to change how this function works, unfortunately. GUI toggle set. GUI toggle set. So for each thing inside of this, we should do... CD config metadata config data keys duplicate. Left container add to inner. Alright, so what if I do this? We do left container. Let's see. Get inner children. And get inner children would give me an array. So this is really inefficient, but that's fine. For child in left container get inner children. That'll give me an array of all of the labels, right? And then we can check to see var upper text, right, is equal to child dot get returns the current value for the specified key in the dictionary. We don't want dictionary. Can't you just do just a random get as well? Get upper text. Right? Can't you just do this in Godot? It's just random get. Just like on a node, right? Or object. Don't want AR. PR. No A star. Where's my node stuff? I suppose this is alphabetical. So let's see. A lot of these are just gets, which makes sense. No, huh? Am I crazy? Get var, get ID. Here we go, node. Isn't just, yeah, this is one of the node functions. Get 76 matches, all right. I'm willing to go through this if you're willing to go through this. Get pause mode. Maybe this is just on objects. I thought get was just... Get. Ah, so you can override the get, but you can also do this. Yeah, okay, this works. And so if upper text, then if presets has upper text. Wait, we can do if upper text and if presets. Oh, and presets has upper text. Then call whatever this function is, right? I think that'll work. Because we don't want to work off of toggle name whatsoever. Yeah, I think this is a good stopgap. It's pretty gross. It'll work for now. It'll work for now. Wah! Oh, right. Presets, upper text. Create preset info display. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, this no longer has the data that I need either, right? Because this is just, presets has changed to be config data keys. So there's not really any data for me to, you know, slap in here. Config data. So presets, create preset info display, and I feel like I should pull data from, really should try to do all my editing here. So here, I require some metadata information about the config file that you're currently modifying. And this is the previous config file data, so config name. Model name can't really be changed. Description, I suppose that's a good one. Yeah, let's do that. So config name, var, config description. Let's see, config hotkey. Is it var, config notes, and then var. Well, actually, is default for model. We can change this here. Config is let's not let's not modify too many things. So we're already, I think we're already relying on this string somewhere. I'm not sure where though. No. I think it's in App Manager actually, right? It's in is default format. No, is default. Is it just in config manager? It is. hold on. Is default for model. Huh. You know what? We can simplify some of this. So we have config name, config description. Yeah. Just modify this. So config name needs to be prefaced with config because we also have the concept of a model name, right? But these ones don't actually need to have config prefix to it. Alright, so that solves a few problems. That's good. Very nice. So this is preset of view. Let's open this back up. And so here in on GUI toggle set, we'll do. We don't need to do this kind of convoluted thing. We just need to grab the appropriate dictionary. Oh no. So, okay. Hold on. I've realized there's a problem. I don't have a way to load in the other dictionaries. So this, okay. So we can do... So this is like an implicit load. Oh no. Okay, so let's do function get config as get config as dictionary. That's tough. That's tough. Config path. So this, yeah, so this will need to take a config path. So this is just the direct, the explicit path. What's that? The absolute path to a config file. So get config as dictionary, and so this needs to return a dictionary. Otherwise, this no longer makes sense. So then I should also replace some of these functions with this. So some of these lines of code need to change. Probably like this one here, right? Yeah. So this one is var result some sort of dictionary, and then what does it return? Result. So this one should be pretty easy. Grab all of this, config file, open, config path. Hey. And then, was it load from JSON? What does this do? Oh no. Or I suppose this should be like get as JSON string. Get config as JSON string. I suppose. Huh. Load from JSON. Yeah, I think I need to change a few things here on the back end, so that makes more sense. Yeah, so we'll do parse JSON. Okay, so var JSON results JSON dictionary is equal to config file get as text. And this is just going to be parse JSON built in. Config manager. I need to cross-reference this. So this is looks good. This is config file get as text. Very good. Func load from dictionary, which is JSON dictionary, which is some sort of dictionary. Probably did not guess that. But that's what I'm best at. Okay, so good. Config as dictionary. And then this should probably like pre-parse your stuff, right? So if type of JSON dictionary does not equal type dictionary, then we'll do whatever this is, invalid config data loaded, return result. Return an empty result, more or less. Then for key in JSON dictionary dot keys JSON dictionary key. Okay. Oh no, pre-roll ads are back on. I'm so sorry. I've tried my best to avoid them, but some days it's just unavoidable. So let's grab this. Boom, boom, boom. Very good. Return results. Well, we should actually just return an empty dictionary. Make sure to return an empty dictionary at least. Otherwise, that could be kind of a problem. All right, so we're just doing some conversion here. There we go. So this is data. Oh no, data point is not. Put it in the current thing. Okay. So let's do this. Let's move this out of here, so that we can access it from other things. Yay, no more nesting. No more Matryoshka jals. Do you like doing development on Windows? I usually done on Mac and Linux. At my new job, it's all Windows because it's a huge C# shop. I actually hate doing development on Windows. You bring up an interesting points. I prefer doing development on Mac. And sometimes on Linux if I have to. But at my job, they are a big bank, and so of course everyone has to use virtual Windows desktop for compliance purposes. Even though I do most of my development is for CentOS servers. So Windows kind of jank. Really bad if you want to be able to test your code easily, depending on your deployment platform, of course. And I think I mitigate a lot of that by just using git bash and also just remote servers at work. But you know, I mean, it could be worse, right? I think if you're doing game development, okay, so I should put it like this. If you are not deploying to a container, then you should definitely do your development on whatever your target deployment platform is. If you are deploying to a container, then you should use whatever platform is most suitable for you. Right? But if you're doing games or I'm working on this program here, which is open source and available on my GitHub. my main deployment platform is Windows, so it just makes sense for me to develop for Windows. Develop on Windows. I do have a MacBook to my left and a slightly more beefy Linux box somewhere. It's been a brutal transition for me. Yeah, well, just try to live in Git Bash and you'll get over it eventually. You will, you'll basically kind of like Stockholm Syndrome yourself into, I guess, not liking it, but accepting Windows. Yeah, I mean, are you deploying to a container like Kubernetes or just creating like some sort of Docker compose file? Right? Or what kind of C# library are you using? Are you using like .NET, .NET framework, or using like something that's more multi-platform like .NET Core? Because like if you are doing something that is, you know, containerized, and you're already using a multi-platform framework, then you could make an argument for doing most of your development work on Linux or Mac. And you could, you know, maybe talk to your team lead or manager about it, right? Yeah, we do .NET Core into containers on Kubernetes. Well, yeah, there we go. You could probably ask, be like, hey, since we're not deploying straight onto, you know, bare metal Windows boxes, can I use a Linux box, or can I get a MacBook to do my development? You know, it does make it a lot harder to troubleshoot if the rest of your team is all Windows, though. Yeah, no, but I feel your pain. I feel your pain. No, I work for a big Linux shop. Big Linux shop, and they're all like my laptop is it's running Fedora right now. Then I have to use a Windows virtual desktop, and from that virtual desktop I get to SSH into Linux boxes, so it's VMs all the way down. It's a big finance company and they're sending their ways with equipment at least. Yeah, so you're kind of stuck from there, right? You're kind of stuck. Because for finance, and I know this personally because I specialize in, you know, financial fintech, as they say. Which all that really means is that you are a programmer who's used to bureaucracy. Fintech isn't really all it's chalked up to be. Are you at GS? Yes, the setup you just described me as a debit. I can't, I'm actually a consultant, so I consult for a big Linux company. You can look me up if you want to like dox me or whatever. My real name is in my description, so with what I've described, you could probably find me. I cannot confirm or deny the bank that I work for, though, because that is against company policy. But yeah, no, it's pretty much the standard setup across the board, from what I can tell, is most big banks. Most big banks do it, do what you say. Or do as I've said. They give you some garbage and expect you to crap out some gold eggs for them. And you know what? That's exactly what I've done. KEKW. Thank you, thank you. I do appreciate the fact that me pre-doxing myself has gotten a kick out of somebody. That's kind of the rub, right? Is that I don't stream professionally. I pretty much only stream so I can kind of garner attention to whatever projects I have going on my GitHub. You know what I'm saying? And so like, this is kind of a good log, you know, I can be like, hey, I can prove I actually worked on some of these projects, because actually, when I've been interviewing for companies, you know, I would be like, hey, check out my GitHub, and they're like, did you actually write all this? I'm like, what do you mean did I actually write all this? What do you mean? And they're like, did you buy these stars? I'm like, what? What kind of question is this? Why would I ever? So even if I did, by some like weird twist of fates, like actually buy GitHub stars or like steal someone else's code and put on my GitHub, do you think I would actually answer that truthfully for you? You should just assume it's like, yeah, I wrote all this. I didn't buy the stars. But here, I can actually prove that I wrote it. I can't really prove that the stars are legit, but I don't buy stars on GitHub. Yeah, no, I hate talking to recruiters, man. Recruiters are just so dumb. Recruiters are, No, I get that they're working with, like, changing requirements on all of that, but it's like, man, you're the one that reached out to me. Couldn't you have at least done your research first? So converts JSON string to a dictionary with the appropriate values, and then this one is just blind sets a bunch of things. Actually, since it's a blind set, because it's pre-converted, yeah, actually. Oh, but no, I can't. Yeah, because I'm using this like a struct. Oh, so true. So true, bestie. Yeah. I'm using this class like a struct, so I can't just set the dictionary like this. So, since we are using the class as a struct, can't just set the dict to a value. Alright, so that's load from dictionary. Boom, boom, boom. We can get rid of this. We'll do current model config load from dictionary. Then we'll do get config as dictionary. Get config as dictionary. Full path. And I think this takes care of pretty much this part and this part, right? Yeah, so we have our config file open, boom, config file get as text. And then remember to close your file afterwards. Or actually, we can just do boom, config file close. There we go. But yeah, I'm very sorry to hear that you have to work for financials. You work in a big finance company. It's how long have you worked at your new job? Or are you used to the finance sector? Here's where I get to flex on other people. I guess I don't work on the client side, I work on the consulting side, but you know, it means I get to interact with all kinds of people who 100% hate their jobs. And in turn will try to make my job as hard as possible. So I know the churn in the finance industry, especially on the tech end, is pretty bad, right? Because it's the same kind of work, but you just have a lot of red tape, which is kind of how, you know, telecom also works, lots of regulations, and then also working in, you know, pretty much any tech job that requires security clearance, aka like DoD contracts. I think earlier in my career, I thought it'd be really cool to work for, you know, a DoD contract, get onto like the kind of public side of the industry, because I hear that the work is a lot slower, but you know, the entire process of getting security clearance is really, I guess not tight, but stringent. It's hard to do, and then once you get security clearance, they also just watch you whenever you leave the country. It's like, oh, is this guy about to defect with his secret level security clearance, top secret, etc. So it's a fun time. Decided I didn't want to do that since I'm already tracked enough by the governments. Don't need to get any more eyes on me as is. Know what I'm saying? Alright, so create preset info display, and then we'll do app manager, cm, gets config as dictionary. As dictionary, and then we'll need the full path. Oh, jeez. Alright, I'm thinking. Everyone shut up. This is app manager, cm. Let me see. Upper text. Is it config data? So it's metadata config. I should really wrap these in a better, I guess, wrapper, you know? But we're not gonna do that. We're instead just gonna do this really gross, whatever the heck this is, upper text. So upper text config data is config name to config path. This one requires a path. Oh geez. Yeah, so let's add a to do. Wrap this logic in some sort of config manager function. I think this will work though. I'm trying to hold off on a lot of big changes because I am going to rewrite the entire GUI, because right now GUI a little fragile as well, even though I've rewritten it twice. I think the first one, I think it's actually still used as the GIF on the project readme. And you can kind of see how just absolutely horrible that UI is. I rewrote it once, where each sidebar contained its own data and its own state, which grew to be pretty difficult to handle, and it also didn't make a lot of sense. Then I rewrote it again, and that's the current iteration, where each tab holds its own states and then populates either the left side or the right side appropriately, or accordingly, I suppose. I suppose is probably one of my one of my more noticeable verbal tics, because that's how you know that I'm trying to stall for time. Let's see. I think that's fine, so we can test this out. Just wait for it. It takes a little bit. Presets. Oh, right. This makes sense because I didn't update this part first. Okay, so we have display name. Display name is config name. Should also be config name. Config name. Preset name. Which ones are editable? Which ones are not? I'm a little twisted right now. Preset name. Preset name. Config name. Let me see. What am I using for this stuff? I suppose that's fine. And there's the verbal tick again, I suppose. I suppose. It's 3 letters, and it's not the word which is the most common verbal tic that a lot of people have. So you gotta switch it up so they don't realize that I'm just stalling for time. Is default for a model. I think this is good. I think this is good. Send it. We're getting there. We're getting there. Presets. Click. Ah! Invalid. Okay, hold on. So we can do... Which one is it? It's this one. So let's delete these two. So the... Those 2 things. So it's gonna try to load in Alicia Solid. Very nice. Because that was set as the default model to load here. I suppose that's not very obvious which things are modifying your metadata and which things are modifying your just model in general. Oh, that's weird. Well, that's going to try to load something that doesn't exist. Because I'm pretty sure this is doing a raw load as well. AKA, I'm not wrapping at anything, so I just try to open it. Yeah, I should probably do this. Which is to say, do a null check on the data. So if data is empty, then just early return. Alright, but I think this looks good, right? So preset info will have your I guess just the config name, your description, hotkey, notes, and then set as default preset, which should actually be true, but for whatever reason is false. And what does save preset do? I'm so... Ugh. I just have no idea what's going on. Update preset, load preset. So update preset, what does this do? So looking at this, which is the kind of like mega struct that I'm working with, this metadata all kind of falls under the preset stuff. Model name and model path, I don't remember where those fall, but this is just kind of like a rough ordering of where things should be accessed from. Model, all this stuff, face tracking, and then feature. And then instance props as well. You know what? I think I am going to try to wrap some of this functionality in. So let's see. Here, we'll do get config as dictionary. Or I suppose not. It's very Unix-like, I suppose. Very Unix-like. So you get chain 2 functions together. Okay. Yeah, it works. I don't think I need to wrap it. Although it would be nice. Or we can do function raw load config get config from config name. I think that works. Config name, some sort of string. Get config as dict. You know what? It should probably be one of these, actually. Func, get, pull, or I guess it's like pull config. You know what? Let's not wrap it just yet. Let's not wrap it just yet. That's too rough. That's too rough. Not a big fan. Let's see. I think it works though. I do need to delete the entire, or pretty much everything here, because it's no longer valid for the most part. So let's open it up again. Well, let's not open it up again. I still need to implement preset updating. So on update preset, on load preset. I think load preset is not really what we want. I'm trying to think. So from main screen, we'll do some fun stuff here. So set file to load, and then we can grab the current presets, right? We can grab the current presets. Yeah. So preset view. Preset name text. Yeah. So this is var config name string is equal to presets. It'll be right container inner get child 0. We'll get preset name text, because I can guarantee that that will exist. Okay. Because you cannot load without having something being present, right? So that's the new stuff. So this is loading presets. So that's your config name, and then given a config name, we can do oh geez. App manager, set file to load. I wonder. You might not need to do this. We can do var current config. Well, no, we already have a handle on what the current config is, right? It's from current config manager. I need both of these open. So config manager. Go up all the way up here. Current model config. So we do if app manager cm current model config is equal to current model config name what's up, Knock? Thanks for dropping in. Oh, you have rolled the dice. Success. Great success on my wife. Very nice. I don't know why I like. As soon as I said success, I was like, that's definitely a Borat. It's going, man. It's going. I'm knee deep in bureaucracy at work, and I'm loving it. Because they just cannot match up to the just vast multitude of emails I can send. I'm actually starting to have fun. Which is how you know I've just completely lost it. But, you know, it is what it is. How are you doing? you're having more fun than I am. Happy to hear it regardless. Oh yeah. just you know, a 20-something just losing their mind at work. They've also just, you know, accepted the fact that they've had a mental break and are now actually enjoying it. Pretty good. Been having fun since, you know, I don't work Fridays. Oh yeah, you're on that weird 4-day work week. I still work Fridays. That's okay. I don't really consider what I do to be work anyways. But yeah, no, I suppose I actually did real programming today though. Professionally. You know, in order to do one simple thing, which is to add users to an AD group, we need to set up like 3 different integrations, which I think there's a video out there which is like it's like the pain of being explaining something to a project manager. That's not what it's called. I can find it, but it's like a programming skit where the team lead is trying to explain to the project manager why they cannot display the user's birthday on their profile page. Do you know what video I'm talking about? I need to find that later. And he's like, we need to go to Galactus to get their global user ID, but because Galactus is down, we need to go use the fallback Olympus, but Olympus depends on Rocketman in order to find all the appropriate API connections, and it's just that's kind of what I'm stuck in, which is like I need to find the users almost the same thing, the users you know, GUID more or less, but all I have is their like company ID, so I need to go ping off 2 other services to find their global user ID, and all I need that to do is to check to see if they're in AD group, and then if they're not in the AD group, send some other request to add them to the AD group. So there's just it's so dumb. You know what video I'm talking about? You could probably find it. It's a very good video. Alright, so this one is, we want to check to see if it's the same config. So if same config, let's go. As you may know, I've been writing a lot of Go. Do nothing. Elif. Do nothing because it's the same config. I think this is actually not necessarily true, but I'm gonna intentionally just leave this in to do not necessarily true, because you could rename it and then I suppose truncate. I suppose if you were to truncate another config for whatever reason, this might break. Right, so if you had 2 configs, config A and config B, and you have config A loaded, right? But then you click on config B, rename config B to be config A, and then try to load it, then that's a bug, because then you won't load it because it's the same name. It's kind of a weird use case, to be sure, but you know what? I'm gonna write out a longer explanation. Given config A and config B, config A is loaded when config B is renamed to config A, config And then the new config A is and then try to load new config A. Then this step fails. Something like that. That's very BDD test language. But that's okay. We'll let it fail for now because I have a very detailed explanation of how it could fail. Elif app manager. I need a better way of doing this. Current model config dot model name is equal to so I need to grab this. I think that's fine. So we do an early return. So this is basically a failure check, I guess. Yeah, it's not really a failure, but I need the space in order to do other stuff. So this will do... So new config is equal to app manager cm get config as dictionary. Maybe config name. Yeah, because I can guarantee that this is valid. Because I'm already constructing this value. Yeah. So new config. If app manager cm current model. You know what? CMC is equal to CMC is equal to current model config app manager current model config, just so I don't have to go through the long and arduous process of typing out this long chain of code. So this is CMC current model config name. And then this is the new config. So we load in the new config, and then we check to see two things. Is the model the same? Then we don't. If the model is the same, then all we need to do is update the config. If the model is different, then we need to load in the new model. Okay, I watched 2 skits. I can't anymore. Is it because it's too real? It's too real, right? Is it? Did you find the skit? Or are they my job is nothing like me. I can probably find the skit. Hold on, give me 1 sec. Don't show me too much. What the heck? The skits are just bad. That's probably fair. Probably fair. My YouTube recommends are garbage as usual, so let's try not to have them on stream. See, I can definitely find the script. Oh, it's this one. You want to watch YouTube videos on stream? It's this one. Check this out. See, VTuber. There's only one VTuber actually.
Why is it so hard to display the birthday date on the settings page? Why can't we get this done this quarter?
Look, I'm sorry, we've been over this.
Please no copyright strike.
First we have to call the bingo service. See, bingo knows everyone's name-o, so we get the user's ID out of there. Then from bingo, we can call Papaya and MBS to get that user ID and turn it into a user session token. We can validate those with...
Oh, you can't hear it? Oh no.
And then
is it just too low? Very quiet. Okay, let's turn it up. How do I? How do I turn it up without just absolutely destroying your eardrums when I turn the music back on? Hold on, we can do it. I guess it's not optimized for Google Chrome. So I'm going to copy this over. Did you find it? All right. Their audio is so bad. I think it's okay. You should, once you're done watching that, you should watch this one as well.
6 a.m.
Which is I think they're pretty good. I think that they're pretty good. But let's stop trying to watch YouTube videos on stream. I wonder, is my music audio just really quiet? I wonder if that's it as well. Or is my music audio too loud? I don't know. Anyways, those are the videos. I have them saved. I hope to my credit, my recommends didn't look too bad. What do you mean it's not that bad? The hum is louder than the talking. The hum? What's the hum? Now I'm in the video. Oh, that's true. Yeah, the I don't know. On my side, it wasn't that loud, but maybe your speakers are just super jacked up. Anyways, that microservices video is pretty much my life. Where pretty much I just have to explain why it's so hard to do a thing. I don't know. Maybe other people don't find it as funny, but I do. I do a lot of microservices integration. So it's like, it might seem like satire, but actually it's somewhat like, especially the parts where like things just kind of randomly work. That's pretty much my life. Like, I don't know, do they work? I don't know. We had the fallback though. So try it a few times. Because you know what they say. Plan for failure is planning to fail. Something like that, I don't know. So new config. So we want to check the two possible outcomes, which is it a new model or is it the same model? Which isn't really like two different outcomes. Well, those are two different outcomes, I suppose. So we'll do if a new config dot model name. I think model name is fine. Let's do model path. The new config model path is equal to CMC dot model path. Then it's the same model, easy. Else we need to load in a new model. So this is app manager. Hey. What is the thing I'm looking for? It's set file to load. Set file to load. New config model path. Easy. And then this one is more just I need to think. So app manager. Let me see. App manager has model is loaded. That's not what we want. So what we want to do is app manager cm current model config is equal to new config, right? And then we'll do app manager. And I'm kind of abusing the signal system now. But it's okay because I'm abusing the signals for the greater good. We'll do model is loaded, which is only half true. So we're reloading it more or less. Okay, just watched it. Wow. Wow. How does it make you feel? Does it fill you with a sense of ecstasy? Maybe a sense of existential dread, perhaps? I'm still a very happy duck, I just realized. Oh, that's the bug. So if I close my eyes... Well, no, if I change the expression, close my eyes, change back to pretty much any expression. Ah, that's a bug. So if I change back to eyes open, while my eyes are closed, and then I open my eyes, it'll go back to the previous expression. Do real-world systems really look like that? Yes, they do. The sad part about the video is that it's actually true. That's pretty much the system we worked with. That's actually kind of the system I currently work with, right? Like we have a system. I think it's okay to tell you the name. It's called Sims. I'm pretty sure they chose a name because it's based off of The Sims, because it's it's basically just working with user in groups and out groups. And then to query Sims, we need to use some DevOps API in order to use the marketplace API. And it's just like, So it's sadly very, very true. If only because I have experience with that. Pick a model load. New config. But why? I don't know. Because they all hate their jobs. That's why. Enterprise programming is not about efficiency. It's about covering your tracks. I've never seen a system like that. Well, I think there's a few reasons why systems become super convoluted. It's because, you know, for one thing, so let me illustrate for you the current system I'm working with, right? So we have 3 different services, all with their own different calls. So boom. And I suppose we have our calling service. So I'm writing a CLI tool, right? And so this is the CLI. So we have, we'll call it the sim service. We have our kind of weird DevOps service, DevOps helper we'll call it. And then we have our, what's it called? The marketplace service. And so the idea, oh, and then we just have 80 groups somewhere. So Windows AD groups. Oh, AD groups. None of those names mean anything. Well, okay, so you know what a CLI is, right? Like a command line interface, right? And then AD groups are just like LDAP groups on Linux, but AD groups are on Windows. Marketplace, you order things from the marketplace. So in this case, we order an AD group request. So that's the flow. Yeah, AD as an active directory, yes. So we have a few active directory groups. So in order to find out which active directories a user is currently in, and so we should also have the user. I suppose we could do like a circle. This is the user. So the user plugs in their information into the CLI. CLI goes to Sims, which gives us whether or not they're inside of an AD group. So actually, we can do something like this. So Sims goes all the way, because I think the marketplace requests actually use Sims as well, but we cannot directly make requests on Sims because that goes against regulation. So Sims goes to AD groups. AD groups gets back to Sims. So we'll have this kind of two-way flow. Then they'll get back to us. On whether or not the user is part of the AD group, then we'll go to DevOps helper with the user information that they plug into the CLI. Then they'll get back to us. Then we'll go to Marketplace with that information. Marketplace will go back to Sims. Oh baby. And then Sims will send yet another request over to AD groups in order to add them to that AD group. And then we just have to query Sims again to see if they're part of it. And then that's the flow for adding a user, for automating adding a user to an AD group. So let me see, we can probably number this. So this is 1 Sims, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I missed a star somewhere. Actually, Marketplace doesn't make any requests directly onto the AD groups. I messed up. Hold on. We have a monolith API that talks to the services, and the services don't talk to each other. Yeah, that's probably better. However, I think the problem here is that so all services are kind of siloed because of, you know, regulatory compliance, etc., etc. So we can't just talk directly to a service, especially if it's not within the same group, right? Because we have several different groups within, you know, the clients that I work for. It's a big bank, so you know you have, you know, I guess the public-facing API, which some of these are, the internal one, the infrastructure one, the developer support APIs, aka this one right here, Marketplace, 9. And then 10. And I guess this is step 0. We're moving forward to splitting the monolith APIs, so each service will have an API and the monolith will become significantly smaller. So that's what happens when you go the microservices route. If you go full microservices, that's kind of what happens. TBH, it'll look like what you have when we're done. I expect it to be bad. I don't know. You know, like all we're actually doing, right, is taking out this step right here, which is user submits request. So there's like the user can just submit 3 individual requests straight to the marketplace, and that's what we're automating. And so we don't need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can take 5, 6. We can take out 6 of these calls if we just make the user do it manually. But that's kind of that's kind of the situation that we're in. And then also remember that the CLI doesn't just do this. This is actually a very small part of the functionality. So instead of the user just submitting their own requests, we do the requests for them. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So then the user just needs to input their information and we do it all for them. Anyways, that's horrible. But that's pretty much the current design. Of course, names were changed for confidentiality. Anyways, I think this will work. Which is why I took that time out of the stream to just kind of talk about random minutia that I had to deal with at work. To be fair, our system isn't great either. I don't think any software systems are really, really good. But that might just be me. We have 3 different versions of our architecture running concurrently. Well, it's because you're doing... Well, 3 different versions doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but... I can understand having 2 different versions running concurrently, right? Because you're doing... kind of like a long form A/B testing. 3 is a bit much. I don't really know why you would want 3 unless you're doing like A, B1, B2 testing. So you know you want to migrate, but you're not sure which one you want to migrate to. But I mean, having 2 architectures running concurrently, I think that's pretty standard practice, right? Like we used to do, I guess A/B testing like that as well. So we would always run the old one in parallel with the new one for about a month, just to do bug fixes on a small subset of the population. No, it's not for testing. It's because we never completely migrated. Oof. You gotta love it. Gotta love it. Hey. Is there a way for me to force this to change? So this is the default. Huh. We had an old version, and before they joined, they started a new version. The new version messed up, so I'm helping build version 3. Nice. Oh, so is that where the TypeScript comes in? Oh baby, love me some types. We're not trying to bring things under control. Yes. So I'm building version 1 of of things. I think the last time I did a migration, that was when I got really far into BDD tests, which is why I kind of have a more positive view, which is why, because I did write the entire test harness for the version 3 of the thing that we were running. TypeScript, that's why version 2 failed because JS is crap. Yeah. Load preset. Ah! Invalid config data loaded. Get as dict. Get config as... What is the config name? Config name is duck.textscene. Huh? Get config as dict. Oh, I see. So this is get config as dict, and this works off of absolute paths, but I just passed in the config name. We have a GraphQL API for version 3 just because of how much data we have. Oh baby, love me some data. And I kind of wish I worked for a real software company doing real software development. I miss working with fancy toys instead of having to fight for every single toy I get. Not even every single toy, just every single like part of the toy I get. Which is probably why I like Godot, is because Godot is kind of like a really constrained toy. It's Stockholm Syndrome all the way down. Like GraphQL, you know what I have to use? I have to use SOAP UI. I have to use SOAP. It's not even SOAP UI, it's just SOAP. Soap UI is the tool that you use to send to SOAP requests. Because going back to that diagram that I have now closed, one of those APIs only accepts SOAP. Well, everything else only accepts REST. But one of them only accepts REST as a post form, not as like a regular JSON payload. I technically was super keen and set me to R&D to see if it was the right fit. So yeah. I mean, that sounds cool. Man, I want to go into more of that fancy, just fancy stuff, you know? Model configs. Is this model configs? Yeah, I mean that's why I do streaming though, because it lets me do slightly fancier stuff. Metadata config. You know, SOAP sounds so much better than a REST on paper. I've never used the SOAP API though. I think SOAP sounds better than REST on paper because it's XML. And XML has a very, very strict format for what you can send. So as long as you have like a software wrapper around writing SOAP requests, it's fine. I don't know why people hate XML. Strictness is good. I think the strictness is good. It's just hard to read. I think that's why people don't like XML. It's just hard to read. Because there's so much more things you have to parse visually, which is why people like to. That's why people like Python. It's because Python is really easy to parse with your eyes. I'll give you that. Yeah. Well, it's because, you know, if you're looking at like a standard SOAP document, it's like, you know, a thing like XML, or it's like, yeah, it was like WDSL, you know, version is equal to whatever, and then I'm pretty sure it's like, I think that's actually just a close bracket, and then you do like some garbage, and you can need to wrap it, and then everything has its own thing. XML can be easier to read if it's designed right. The schema, I mean, yeah, the schema is nice if it's designed right, I suppose, right? Because it's very obvious where things start and stop because of the, you know, the close, open and close tags, aka the HTML. If you really like reading HTML, raw HTML, then you'll love XML. I've mostly seen crap XML, so I guess people can't design. Yeah, I don't know. If you're familiar with reading POM files, like I am, it's not so bad. Because Spring Boot is configured, extensively configured via XML, so you just have to live with it. God, I hate, oh no, I hate configuring Spring Boot via XML. It's so dumb. Because I think Spring Boot almost has the same concept as Godot with autoloads. So you can autoload some things so they are auto-wired into certain implementations of your interfaces. I've only dabbled with POM, it's painless mostly. Yeah, well, just wait until you start working with the newest and greatest trend sweeping the Java nation, auto-wired. So, auto-wired, you apply to interfaces, so then you guess where you configure auto-wired, you configure it in a POM file. And then from that POM file, you feed in constructor arguments. And then Spring Boot takes care of the implementation for you, which is so garbage. Android development, like adding a native plugin or something so trivial. Yeah, as long as the framework that you're using doesn't lean really hard on POM for like app configuration, then it's nice. Yeah, can be used to auto-wire a bean on the setter. Yeah. So a Java bean is just a Java class, more or less. I guess it's not really a setter. It's more of just a property field. It's more of a property field. So Java lesson for today that I'm just gonna write straight into Godot. So if you have, you know, like a public interface, I don't know, talker, right? And then you have whatever implementation goes with that, right? And then you have another class called public class, I don't know, person implements talker, blah, and then you have public class, I don't know, streamer, who is different from a person, I guess. Implements talker, or it's not implemented, it's implements talker, right? And then you have another thingy, public class, I don't know, it'd be like Twitch chat. Then you can have a field on it that's called like private talker, and then you can auto wire it like that. Streamers aren't people. This is true. Streamers are not people. They're different. They're a different class of people. Anyways, that's kind of the idea. And then you would configure in your Spring XML something like I forget how you would do it. It's like bean class person. And then you would have to define some attributes that talker would need from either person or streamer. And then Spring would just figure out which one to like wire into this somehow. There's some magic that goes into it. I forget what the magic is though. But that's the idea behind auto wiring, is that you don't need to worry about which implementation you need, as long as you just throw it into your Spring configuration. Spring will take care of the rest. That's gross. Explicit supposed to implicit? Yeah, I don't know. You know, I worked on a project where most big, or at least on the projects I've worked on, they make really, really heavy use of auto-wire. Auto-wired. Just use a builder factory class or something, but that's not enterprise grade. You don't understand. The more that this turns into spaghetti, the better. So that we have no idea what's actually being inserted into this one property. If people actually understand how the code works, my job is no longer secure. But let me tell you, it's such a pain to debug. Right, because sometimes Spring won't be able to find the auto-wired class because some property somewhere else has changed so that neither of these will apply, and so it will just do a thing, I guess. That's such a gross viewpoint. It is a really gross viewpoint, but I understand the thinking behind it, right? Mostly because that's my job, is to replace people at their jobs. Yeah, I think there is some validity to the viewpoint. AKA, like, if you automate too much of your job, then you will just get replaced. So if you automate a lot of it, I wouldn't speak up about it. Or at least I would speak up about it very gradually, while clawing for more responsibilities. But, you know, I work in infrastructure automation, so I am working to replace people, aka like system admins, and so they hate working with me. And you work at a crap company? Well, I'm a consultant, so that's kind of my job, is to go in and replace other people with code. Config name. Yeah, that should work. What should happen is you automate your job, is that you get promoted. Oh no, I can't guarantee that, unfortunately. The sad fact of the matter is that I can't guarantee that, so it makes it scary. Oh, me neither. I'm complaining. No, I do not make a fuss about it. This is wrong. That's also wrong. Why are these both wrong? Load preset. Nothing happened. Hold on. That's how things should be, though. Yeah, well, unless you are in like the decision-making seats, I guess you just have to live with it. The ideal reality is not exactly the actual reality. See, this is why I like working at a small company, I suppose. Well, you know, working at a big company has its perks. I can talk to people. I can talk to top people on the same level. Yes. Yeah, okay. I got confused. Top people? Same level? What? People on the same level or at the top? Question mark? But no, top people at the same kind of base conversation level. Yes. Yeah, technically I can do that too, but I guess the word of a consultant is not as valuable. So I can talk to top people too. They just won't be talking at the same level. Yeah, but do they listen? Eh. Not really. As expected. I kind of like the... It kind of goes both ways, right? Is that they don't listen, but also they don't care about what you do. As long as you don't cause a stir. So yeah, they don't listen to me, but also they also don't pay attention to me either. Only my direct manager really pays attention. So I also don't have to work as hard for the most part. Yeah, dude, I could go work at a big company and make a lot of money. Yeah, I get it. Like, do you want to enjoy your job or do you want to take it easy and just hate your job? I could work at a small one and feel respected. Yeah, well, you know, that's kind of the big reason why there's a lot of turnover in financial services, right? Is that, you know, one, bureaucracy, two, you get treated like crap pretty much constantly. Because, you know, oh, you work in IT, you're one of the technology guys, you're just the help. Get back to me once you get the app running. All right, well, okay. Just go work at a unicorn startup. I've considered that. Recruiters have tried to poach me for a few unicorn startups, which did sound pretty cool, right? So there's one that's near me that's doing, like, I guess it's storage. It's not automation. It is some automation. It's like warehouse storage optimization. Yeah. Which is really cool. It's a good idea. It's some sort of like what's the name? Logistics tech? What's the supply chain tech? It's really cool. But they're like, yeah, we can only pay you like $30,000 less US. I'm like, oh, I can't do that, man. I can't do that. It sounds really cool, but I can't take just a huge slash to my pay just to do that. and that they are, I think the founders are on Forbes 30 under 30. So like, and I actually know one of the co-founders brothers, which is absolutely crazy. You've seen the 2021 Stack Overplay survey? Yeah, I've seen that. Rust is on top. NeoVim is, I think, the most loved editor. Just learn Clojure. Yeah, I saw that. Clojure. That was actually baffling. I know Clojure. I just don't like to program in Clojure because it's Java. And anything I want, well, and any programming I usually want to do would be game development, and then using Clojure for game development is kind of tough. So just give me a moment. I'm adjusting my earbuds. As cool as the Rust thing is, I think it's a bit meaningless. Yeah. I think people are starting to pick up Rust more and more. I like Rust because it has a nice build system. Yeah, my dream job would be Rust game dev. Well, no. I think the more and more I dive into Rust, the more I really dislike it. I really dislike it when you're doing complicated things. I think I'm grabbing the wrong data, by the way. Like, I was trying to write... What was the last thing I was trying to write? Hold on. Oh, the last thing I was trying to write was some data visualization stuff. I was just using Godot as the display layer. And it was just running into borrow issue after borrow issue. And I was like, I'm dying, dude. Why can't I just duplicate it? Like, all I want to do is load in the CSV, but it's not working. You really need to stop writing Rust in this weird situation. Well, it's not really that weird, right? Because most of, like, pretty much 90% of the logic is written on the Rust side. It's just like I have binding functions on the Godot side for, all right, so let's break out Paint again. My favorite prototyping tool. So you have the Godot side, and then you have the Rust side. So all Godot does is it sends a few requests and be like, you know, load. So you want to load file, then we just talk to Rust. We'll do, you know, do transformation on data, do transformation on data. It's all just Rust functions, right? That was the idea that I was doing, and it'll call the corresponding Rust function. Not with Godot, not with third-party libraries. Write a simple CLI. Actually learn the logic. Dive into Rust integrated into other stuff. Yeah, it sounds super easy because not because the Rust side doesn't own the data. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of how I learn pretty much anything, right? Like, this is how I learned Groovy, which I suppose is not super bad since Groovy is JVM language. This is how I learned Golang. Was someone already just had a tool that was interacting with other stuff, and I just extended it. I did that for work. That's how I learned Python. But anyway, this way, Rust Botcheck is a new paradigm. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Like, I get it, right? But at the same time, I don't really have anything I want to do with just straight Rust. Well, I don't really have anything I want to do that isn't graphical, right? It's like learning how O works, or functional programming, or how memory management works. I still don't really have a strong grasp on memory management, I'm going to be honest. You know, my grasp on memory management is like You know, you have a reference, that makes sense. You have a value, that makes sense. My entire understanding of memory management is basically the Java way of memory management, where you either have values, you have references, and that's about it. I know you know C though. Yeah, well, I use C in like the most kind of strangest way possible, where I try to avoid too many mallocs. Try to avoid doing malloc as much as possible. Try to put everything on the stack so that whenever the stack gets unwound, everything just gets dropped. My favorite part. Heap. Who needs a heap? We don't use heaps in this house. And so, probably not the best. I mean, that's valid. You should try that with Rust. I suppose if I'm not using third-party libraries, then yeah, I guess that would be possible. But use copy and clone things. Yeah. That's something I still don't really understand. It's the difference between copy and clone. So, stop using references. I like my references though. I like that I'm able to use a reference when I want. Yeah, but copy and clone, I don't really understand the difference besides that clone is easier to just slap onto something. Whereas clone, I think copy, you need some sort of implementation. I don't really know. Alright, so get config as dict. Something is wrong with this. GUI toggle set. Oh, actually, I know why. I know why this is not working. How did I? Because it's breaking. This will always return true. This will always return true. Copy is easier because it's like automatic cloning. I thought cloning was easier because it's automatic copying. Right? In Rust, cloning is easier to put on stuff than copying. Copying, you need like an additional implementation. You really need to read the book. Well, no, isn't it when you're doing one of the... Yeah, what was it? What is it called? Derive. You're doing one of the derives and you do like a... It's easy to derive clone, but you cannot derive copy really easily. Something like that. Is that backwards? I thought that was it though. Yeah. We can open up a really quick project. Let me see. Which one of these even uses it? Rust. This is Godot. Well, no, that's Golang, so ignore that. Hold on. Is it Bevy test? No. Yeah, so copy and clone work the same way when deriving, but you can't derive copy as easily as you can derive clone. So I think you're starting to get a feel for how I understand programming, which is as always, I only learn as much as I need to learn, and then everything else I just do not care. I don't think any of these are relevant. Yeah. I guess I've just deleted all my Bevy stuff. How weird. Yeah, in order to derive the implementation, all parts of the try had to also implement the... Yeah. Had to implement the trait. Yeah, and it's easier to implement clone than it is to implement copy. What you're hitting is the fact that most types implement clone, but not all of them implement copy. Yes. So you need to implement copy on some of them if you want to derive copy. And that's part of that is... Yeah, that's one of the things that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, is that they seem like they do almost the same thing. Right, copy and clone. I suppose clone probably won't autofill in the data, whereas copy implies that you'll be copying data to the new instance. I think you don't understand why that's the case. Okay, well. That's what makes sense to me, but I haven't really read into it. Copy is automatic cloning. And cloning is... So you cannot implement copy on everything because not everything implements copy because not everything... Well, most things support cloning. So you cannot automatically copy in all instances because of how the data is stored. So if some data is stored on the heap, and then depending on how it's stored on the heap, you cannot just automatically copy that or automatically clone it. Something like that. Is that I think that makes sense to me. See, that's how I learn things, is like I make up little stories as to why things may or may not work. So you have a vector. What does the memory for that look like? I don't know. Bunch of ones and zeros, am I right? I don't know. A vector is stored on the stack. No, I actually don't remember where the vector is stored, so I don't know. It's contiguous in memory though, right? Because you do generally need to provide a size, although you can also just leave that up to Rust. I don't know. Or am I thinking of arrays? Arrays have a fixed size. No, vectors you can define a size, so they're more or less contiguous. I don't remember if they're stored on the stack or on the heap though. If child, we need to go to preset view. Heap contents of a vec stack length capacity pointer to heap. Ah, interesting. That makes sense. So it's it's both at once. Interesting. See, that's where my lack of like computer science or just programming knowledge, low-level programming knowledge, comes in to bite me. It's both of them. I don't know. Where do we slap it? I don't know. I think it's easier just to think of one or the other, but it does make sense that some things use both. And you know what malloc does? You know what a heap is? Yeah. You slap something on a heap, and then you can you have it, and then you need to delete it at some point. Yes. And if you just leave it there, then that's what a memory leak is. Yeah. If you forget to delete it, your heap grows too big, and that's your memory leak. Yeah. Yeah. I know things. Not very well, but I know things. Preset info display. So, what is the button called? It's the. Oh no, it's not the preset info display. It's the preset view. What is it called? Say preset element. Yeah. So say preset element. You have a script. Oh geez. Toggle button. We have child dot toggle button get value, which should give me a. So vec does implement clone but not copy, and the reason for that is because copying vec is expensive. Because because those because copying vec is expensive because you need to allocate a new piece of the heap, because vectors can have a lot of data. But does cloning just copy the stack? Is that what it does? Does cloning just copy the stack data, but copying copies the heap data as well? Is that it? right? Because wouldn't cloning also be expensive unless you're just copying whatever's on the stack? Right, so it points to the same thing on the heap. Otherwise, I don't see how it would be less expensive, right? Yes, the heap will be doubled on clone, right? That's what you're saying? That's why it's expensive. So you can't copy it because it's expensive. Cloning does the same thing. And they let you do that because you need to be explicit about the fact that you want to allocate more heap space. Is that it? Right, so copying is just automatic cloning. Copying is expensive. So if you want to get not a clone, but you know, a second thing. Clone is explicit, copy is implicit. Oh, all right, there we go. That's all I needed to hear. Clone is explicit, copy is implicit. GDScript doesn't have reference. GDScript does have references, yes. We're actually talking about Rust right now, which I've used in several of my projects, especially the projects, my more game dev oriented projects. But I'm not very good at Rust. Copies is just automatic cloning. Yes, because copy is implicit. Yeah. One is explicit, one is implicit. Yeah. That makes more sense. Yeah, no. GDScript has references. GDScript is pretty much everything is a reference in GDScript, except for your primitives, which are values. Rust sucks. Use C++. C++ is pretty garbage. I like anything that has a good build system. That's pretty much my opinion on things. You need to just sit down and read the book. Absolutely not. I do not have the... If not child, toggle button, get value. Non-existent function, get value, and check button. Excuse me? Hey? Doesn't this... Oh, this doesn't implement... this doesn't implement... the other stuff. Who wrote this? The software you are using is written by... you hypocrites. Oh. I don't know. So what? Sounds like we should just write everything in machine code, because that's technically what it all compiles down to. So, you know, C++ sucks. Just write x86 assembly. Forehead. Let's see. This is. It's not value, is it? I forget. Base button. Pressed. Hey. Pressed? Is it pressed? Pressed. I think it's just pressed. So let's operate off that assumption. Pressed. So sometimes I don't have a choice if I do. Someone accurate is working on a x69 compiler. What does that even mean? x69? Doesn't the number correspond to something about the bit level? Isn't that true? I don't know. I don't know too much about compiler design or processor design. I mean, it will run on x69 architecture CPU. What does that mean? Do they have a virtual CPU that they've just written themselves? And if they have the ability to be writing that stuff, couldn't they be just working for like a really fancy company, since CPU design is kind of a dying field? if they're good enough to design their own CPU, and their own CPU architecture. x64, yeah, the CPU I'm using is x64. Yes, it does. Yes, I do know what the the number means. This ecosystem processor. What is an x69 CPU architecture? I've never heard of that. Did I close Chrome? I did close Chrome. What an idiot. x69 CPU architecture. Get this off screen really quick. Oh, you know what? How neat. Emulator for x69 CPU architecture. And there's only pretty much somewhat accurate is the only one doing stuff. I don't really know what that means though. Okay. So exactly because he made it. I assume it's an x69 CPU because it uses 69 bits instead of 64. It's pretty weird, right? So it uses that many bits. So then how do you pack each byte? I guess you just have some bytes that are improperly sized, right? Isn't that how CPU architecture works, is that you have bits in a byte? And that's kind of how most programs operate. And so you kind of fill up all of those, you use up all those bits, or change the byte size. But it's 69. Is each byte just 3 bits? You have a 3-bit byte. A nice round 3. Up, down, left, right, shift, shift. I don't know what that means. Is this Konami code? There are no cheats here. Prepare to receive a VAC ban, etc., etc. So this should work. If not pressed. I don't know. I don't do low level programming. You're talking to a Java developer who learned Python first and just happens to kind of know enough about low level memory management to do Rust. Anyways, Rust doesn't even let you have dangling pointers. Then what's the point? Rust sucks. I don't know. I mean, it sounds pretty good to me. Why would you want to have a dangling pointer? It sounds pretty dangerous. I think, doesn't Rust, it will allow you to do memory dangerous things. You just have to wrap it in an unsafe code block, right? So if you want to do something unsafe, you totally can. Hey. What's going on here? So, let's see, upper text. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So like if you wanted to write like C++ style Rust, I think you can. It would just be kind of bizarre. Huh. What? So dangling pointers are easy. And deref is only possible inside unsafe. Oh baby. Why is this only implemented for one of these buttons? Type punnings? I don't know. I don't really work with that kind of stuff, so I don't really have an opinion. You know, I think writing a 69-bit CPU architecture, whatever, that sounds neat. What can I use it for? How do I look at it? How do I play with it? So, at that point, I'm using an unmanaged link. I don't know. The lowest level language I use at work is Golang, and that's good enough for me. It will solve global warming. Sounds pretty good, yeah. That makes sense. It does use the meme numbers, so how can you go wrong? Also, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? So, GUI toggle set. Bum bum bum. If this is not set, then set it. I'm keeping this stuff in because I will need it later. CD. Call deferred. I'll add all of these. Toggle button pressed on toggle button. At manager GUI toggle sets this thing a preset view name. I'm dying, dude. I'm so close. It's somewhat working, except for this one part. And the reason why it's so difficult to get working now is because I'm trying to avoid restructuring the entire GUI stuff right now, right? Because I'm trying to separate my concerns. So first concern is rewriting the configuration code, which is here. And I think this code is actually pretty good. And then the second concern is rewriting the GUI layer, so it's not as garbage anymore. So it only took 3 iterations, or 2 iterations for me to realize that really you should just have all your data all in one bucket as opposed to trying to separate it out. Big bucket, good. Smaller buckets, smaller independent buckets, bad. Which kind of goes against what what you do in Java development, where you try to separate things as much as possible. And also in like SQL. I don't know. Here, let's run this again. Let's run this again. So we load in. Look at the presets. Yep, hit a breakpoint. Hey. Okay, that makes sense. So toggle name is duck text scene. Hey? Wait. What? GUI toggle set. Wait, what? Duck text scene, sure. Alicia solid. Okay. I'm thinking. I think this line of code is wrong. This line of code is wrong. If child toggle... What did I have before? I think whatever change I made is wrong. Oh, actually, I didn't have any code before. Alright, bring me back. Yeah, it should be pass, not return. Oh, no, it should be continue. Continue, not pat. Or return. So we'll do this. Got it wrong twice, but third time's the charm. So, boom. Oh, non-existent value. Ugh, okay. Toggle button pressed. And then we want to continue, not return. No early returns, because this function only gets called once. Gotta remember that, it only gets called once. So boom, duck. There we go. And I think this will still break though. Load preset. Oh! It works! It works! How strange. It works. This is wrong, but... I don't think save presets is implemented. I'm very confused as how it just kind of worked after that, but I'll take it. Let's see. So this code all worked basically first try, which is cool. This is still a bug, but I'm just gonna leave it there for now. Save preset. Okay, so we need to do update preset. We get the first child, and then preset data, preset info element, save. I suppose. I don't think I'm preset info element. What does this give me? Preset info element. What does save give me? Excuse me? Save preset element? This is it. This is not it. This is preset info display. So this is also just mislabeled. So as default value. You know what? I'm not going to use the save function anymore, since I'm going to... Well... No, we should use the save function in data. Update preset name if preset data. Preset. So what does this do? It updates a preset name. So I need to get rid of this code here. A preset info element name does not equal the preset data name. And I think that will always be true now in this instance. So I think this piece of code is no longer valid because of how I'm handling configuration data files. So I need a new way of checking against it. Let me see. Right, because checking against the element name, like the Godot node element name, directly is no longer a good option, right? Because Godot nodes cannot be named with a period. However, that's exactly how I'm choosing to name my my files. So I just use the direct file name and then I append a JSON to the end of it because it's just easier that way. So, how do I check to see if the name is updated? And then if it is updated, how do I check to see if I should set it to something new? So we go into preset info, display, screenshot buffer. Oh my god, this is super over-engineered. Especially since I don't have screenshots yet. Preset name text. Oh, actually, I can just compare the current line edit text against the preset name text. Ah, that'll work. So, if preset info element dot preset name text does not equal preset data name. So yeah, so I don't compare the node name, I compare it against like the, I guess just the field name instead. Let's see, if that's not true, then we'll do presets. This presets array is just an array of strings now. It's no longer a dictionary. So we should try to do presets erase. I'm gonna refactor this later. Ignore it, it's gonna be really bad. Presets append preset data name which is just a string. Huh. And do I have anything here? And by here, I mean in the configuration manager in order to update a specific piece of configuration. Let's see. So we do save config, load config. There's no update config. Okay, so let's do update config, I suppose. So func update config. And it'll have to correspond to a specific piece of config name. Oh no, that's gonna be a pretty difficult piece of API to write. Because you will not necessarily be modifying your currently loaded config. You do have the option of just modifying random presets if you want. I don't know why you would want to, but you can. So let's see, update config. We'll need to take in a few values. Or I suppose if I just make it update config metadata, that makes it a lot simpler. I'm thinking. Okay, so if I have the configuration as a dictionary, then I can save it back, right? Config path, so it's going to look something like this code, I think. Update config from dictionary. So it's going to have to work implicitly. It's going to take in new config. And then config name. All right. So we take in two parameters, the config name and then the new config, which is a dictionary, right? And so your new config may or may not correspond to, like your new config might not have the same config name. So this is how I will allow you to update your config name to config path, right? Yeah. And then I'll have to, oh my God, I have to update these two as well. Right, so config data stores just the config file name to your config path. Whereas model defaults stores your model file. So for example, the current program I have running right now has duck.textscene loaded, and that points to this file here, duck.textscene.json. So duck.textscene is stored in code here, model defaults. Duck.textscene points towards duck.textscene.json. Yes. And that's your config name. And then your config name points towards your config path. So duck.textscene.json points towards C user these dev opencpHGD export duck.textscene.json. And then if I change the configuration name, it'll also change the file name accordingly. Right, at least I hope it does. Config path, metadata path, config name. Yes, it takes the config name as well. All right, so that's pretty tough though. That's pretty tough. Let's see. Yeah, I'll be right back. I'll get another drink and then we'll finish this part up. BRB. Hello, hello. I'm back. Okay, so update config from dictionary. So you have a config name. You pass in something to it. So in preset view, on update preset, we'll do this. We update the various preset stuff. Let me see. Preset info element. So we'll need to grab this first. So var config data. I think that's fine. We'll do app manager cm get config as dict and just grab all that. This is pretty gross right now since we're not like caching the data. Maybe I should do that, but let's not try to over-engineer it. I am going to change this later. I'm just trying to get back to original functionality. So ignore this. Config data dot config name is equal to preset data name. The preset data set as default. Oh, and that's the hard part, is that I need to then shift all the other preset data things. At least for the current model. So that's a bit tough, right? Because not all... Your preset data isn't all loaded in all at once. Well, I suppose that's fine. We could load all your preset data all in at once, right? So I wonder if it makes sense to do this. So if you have a lot of configuration data, well, it doesn't matter how much configuration data you have. But once we start up our configuration manager, I run through every single configuration file that the program knows about, and then I just kind of hang on to them. So I don't need to load and unload files constantly. Which would be good for, would be good. I suppose if you're running this from like an SD card, because that would minimize file read writes. Or at the very least file reads. Yeah, let's think about that. To do load in all config data at the start, question mark. So this one is not currently possible. Update last modified time, that does not exist. This is bad. Save config. So he wants to update config. So we'll do app manager cm. And we'll just pass in the new stuff to whatever, right? So app manager cm update config from dictionary. So that will take config data, config name, and then just the new config data, right? I think this is fine. Yes. Not this part. Create preset info display. So where else do I call this part? It's one of these, but I'm not sure which part of it I need. So let's hope that just doing this part is good enough. So app manager, we don't have the upper text, but we do have this part, which is the config data, config name. So we just reload the current config. Yes. That's gross. That's gross. Update config from dictionary. And then we do need to update the rest of the configuration. Here. So it's config data. Let's see. It's equal to preset data. What is it given back to me as? This is given back to me as preset info display. Preset info display. It's one of the big downsides to doing everything via JSON. Preset data. No, we don't want to set name. We've already set that. Doesn't make too much sense to set that so many times. Now this one is config name. Already handled. Description is description. Config name description. So you might as well write this again. It doesn't matter. Config data dot. I think it's just hotkey is equal to preset data hotkey config data notes is equal to preset data notes. And then we're not gonna set this just yet. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Also have an extra S in there. You know what? We're gonna set it. Wait, well, why not? Right? Even though it doesn't do anything right now, since I'm not respecting that value, I'm using another one. I'm using the metadata value as opposed to the individual config file data. So there's metadata which handles all the config file stuff. And right now I'm only using the presets information from the metadata, not from the individual config files. And I think I might want to change that, maybe. Hard to say. Or actually, no, set as default. Let me see. So if we have set as default, then I can change model defaults to point towards this new config file. This is breaking my brain. Brain is broken right now. It's pretty tough. I think this will work though, right? Yeah. And actually, I don't even need, well, I do need this part. I still need this part because I do need to change the presets every single time. I think, unless setup left, doesn't setup left already just clear? Yeah, setup left already clears the presets, so actually, it doesn't make any sense. Very good, very good. Since we already reset everything up anyways, we don't need to do any of this preset manipulation, right? Yeah, so the only thing that we need here, actually bring me back. So do this. But we need presets. We need this thing. The old preset name. Then we pass the old preset name into this function over here. So we use the old preset name. And then the new config. So this is, I will call this old name. And the old name might be the same as the new name, who knows, right? And then we'll save config. And so then we'll do, I think this is good. Let's close it and then hope I don't need to open it again. How do I do saving again? Save config. So when I do a save config, I grab the current model config, grab all this kind of good stuff. So we'll do var config name. So I'm just kind of gonna ape some of this stuff. just so it's easy for me to think about. Model name is equal to new config model name var is default. Yeah, I think that's still fair to have. New config. What did I set it as? Oh, geez. It's on update, right? Update preset is default for model. Yeah, is default for model, right? So those are our 3 values which we need 100%. So var config path is equal to config format metadata path. Since we store all your config files alongside your metadata, so this makes sense. Config name. Doesn't make a lot of sense to do it like this for now, but whatever. I think I can probably break out a lot of this logic here into its own function, its own helper function. But let's just wait on that. Metadata config, config data. So we use the old name. We'll grab the new config name, right? So our config path is actually our wait. I think the kind of data flow here is kind of confusing me. Right, so I'm operating off the assumption that you may or may not have changed the name, so I just assume that you did change the config name. So this config path is the path to your old config, right? I wonder, does Godot allow you to rename files? How do you do a rename? Directory. Rename. Renames moves the file from to. Both arguments should be passed to files, either relative or absolute. If the destination file exists is not access protected, it will be overwritten. Okay, that's fine. That makes sense. Sounds good to me. So var dir is equal to directory new. Let me see. And then we'll do directory rename. Oh, hold on. This is old config path. Call it old config path. And var new config path. Hold on. Maybe we don't want to do this yet? I think this is something that we probably want to do at the very end. Okay. So this is just config path. So we'll store everything in the old config path, and then if we need to rename it, then we'll rename it. Yes. So this is the application flow. Well, not application flow, but function flow, right? So assume that the config name has changed regardless of whether or not that is true. Store all information in the old config file. Move the file if necessary. Because you changed the name. Because you changed. Because the name is changed. Because the name was changed. Yeah, I like that. So config name, new config name, blah blah blah. Alright. That sounds good. I love it. Metadata config. So that's your config path. Metadata config. Config data. Config name. Oh geez. Is equal to config. No. Oh no. I can't do that because I have to assume that the name has changed, so I can't just update the path for the name. Ugh. I hate forms so much. I love LAMP. What do you mean forms? Like actual forms that you have to fill out? How's it going, mate? You know, just dying. The usual. I think this logic is kind of breaking my brain right now. Mostly because I'm making a few assumptions just to make it easier. No HTML forms. Oh, okay. HTML forms aren't horrible, right? Although I don't do too much web dev, so I. If you're doing anything really complicated, I can't comment. You have no idea? Yeah, I don't really have too much idea. I don't know. You know, you're talking to seasoned integration developer, but that's about it. Config file new. So we open up the path. Yeah, so we'll do var file is equal to file new. So a lot of this I can reuse and then break out later. I'm working on a personal project. I figured, since you're presumably off today. I'm also working on a personal project, by the way. You might be interested in it. It's called OpenCFace GD. It allows you to do face tracking. It's a web app. I also figured, unless you were doing some sort of Electron work with a form, which would be very weird. Sorry, I'm not a VTuber. Not yet. All you need is my software plus a voice changer, and oh baby, get ready for the simps. No chance. Well, you know, you never know. They told me I couldn't be a VTuber, and look at me now. Still a sub 10 viewer Andy, as they say on livestream failed, so. That's okay. Yeah, you're forgetting the desire. I don't know, I mean, do you hate money or something? Forehead? I don't know, I mean, I suppose if you don't want to interact with chat, that's one thing, I suppose. I don't really mind interacting with chat. But I kind of mindlessly just kind of mutter to myself anyways. Which helps me think, strangely enough. Get as... No, new config. To JSON. JSON. Are you rolling in it? The deep? Probably. Rolling in deep, maybe. Rolling in my grave, unlikely. Not dead yet. Probably give it a few years. give or take a few decades. Rolling in the money. Oh, do you want to see my my analytics? let's just look at my analytics live on stream. Since you have been here for a little bit. Let's see. Let's just look at my analytics. Still bringing it up. Takes a little while to load, since I am just running it. I'm watching my own stream and streaming it at the same time. Channel analytics. Look at this. Oh baby. I have verified my stream key is not on stream. Look at that. Average viewers, 3. It's going down, which is fine. 23 follows though, pretty good. 2 subscriptions. Revenue, paid subs. Thank you again, Knock, for your continued support. Very much appreciated. My parents actually don't want to sub to me, which is very sad. Because they do pay for Amazon Prime there, but like, convince us why we should sub to you. I'm like, what? You weren't using it? Question mark? I suppose if you don't want to give me your free $2, like I'll split it with you if you really want your dollar. So yeah, I'm pretty much rolling in it. Yeah, that's it's pretty good. Also 19 cents in ad revenue. Gotta love it from the pre-rolls. Jeez, maybe you should go full VTuber and voice changer. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. I could go full, or no, I could just like eat my mic and go full corpse husband. Just really deep voice and talk like this all the time. You got a game, dude. For the big bucks. Maybe. Absolutely not. I'm not. Why are you saying you don't like these, the really deep voice? Does it not make your heart swoon? When I just absolutely eat my mic, get way too close to it. Not when it sounds that fake. Sorry, not sorry. Oof. Well, I mean that's pretty much like that's kind of my morning voice. Is this right here? So you're hearing it, Uwu. So we store it in there, and I think that's actually fine. And then we can check to see if config name does not equal old name. Yeah. Yes. My analytics are pretty bad. I don't know why sometimes my analytics get really good. Like sometimes I just randomly get a lot of viewers. I have to assume it's because, right, like if people see that you have viewers, they want to see what other people are showing or what other people are watching. So you know, it's a snowball effect. You know how I do. But I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me since the money is kind of secondary. I assume that's the case. Yes. I'm sure I think you'll have a tough time retaining viewers. Yeah, I think programming streams are one thing, but also the fact that I'm also not very good at programming is also pretty tough. You're a programmer using Godot that isn't working on a game. Yes, it is pretty tough. Programmer using Godot that isn't working a game and also doesn't have a huge amount of viewers, and also it's Godot, so it's already not very popular. Like I have seen other programming streams where people are plus a VTuber, yes, but I think like I have seen like other like programming streamers, and they're like, oh, we're working on like a Twitch, or not a Twitch thing, but like a React Redux project, open source, Vim only. I'm like, oh, okay, like I get it. People want to learn React Redux, and they also got taken in by the clickbait title. You're hitting like a niche of a niche. This is true. Yeah, so like if you're sticking around, it's probably because you're just here for me to you're just here to hear me. You're here to hear me ramble, which is flattering. TBH, I'm always still here since I think you're a cool guy to talk to. Oof. Well, I'm flattered, I suppose. Cool guy to talk to. Mostly has milquetoast opinions on a lot of things. a few super spicy opinions on programming, but it do be like that sometimes. Yeah, I really should like try to finish up a game one of these days, but I'm already committed to this thing, and it's the only project of mine that's really gotten any stars, which is the only reason why I started streaming in the first place. Anyways, we'll do rename file. So hold on. If I randomly jump into this new, I'd be scared off by the VTuber stuff. It's just the duck, though. It's just the duck. It's just the duck. New config path. I suppose ducks are pretty scary at the end of the day. Can't blame you for that. Config name. You have a T-pose girl stuck to your head. You know what? That's that's probably fair. That's consistently flashing. You can't blame me. You know what? That's probably fair. That's probably fair. I did not. Sometimes I forget which things I just kind of stick onto the model. That's fair. Let's see. New config path. Is this not valid? This is valid. So we renamed it. And then we also need to go into the metadata file and change that. So do metadata config. Let's see. Config data erase old name, and then we'll do metadata config data new config name, which is just regular config, is equal to new config. Yeah, that makes sense to me, right? And then let's see. Var should resave metadata. Okay. So there's two instances where we will want to resave our metadata. One is if the config stuff has changed, so should resave metadata is not equal to true, or if let's see, it's new config, or no, if is default, then should resave metadata is just equal to true. One more time. And then metadata config, and it's called model defaults, right? Model defaults. Model file name to config name. So it's new config model path. Model file name? Oh, geez. I think it's just new config or config name. I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to be. Config name is equal to config, new config. What is it called? New config. Or is it just the config path? Is it really just the path? Am I an idiot? I might be an idiot. I'm not sure if this makes sense. Alright, then if should resave metadata, then we'll do this one. Save config, and then the second part, which is var metadata file, which is some sort of new file, right? Then metadata open. Let's just grab all of these. Whatever. Yeah, it seems good, right? I'm And then we never used model name, but that's fine. Model name, because model name corresponds to the actual model. Oh, config data corresponds to... Wait, no, model defaults corresponds to config name. Oh, I got this backwards. Okay, so this is model name to config name. Yes. That makes more sense. I knew something seemed off. Right, so here we go. This is the flow. We always assume that something has changed, right? And then we open up the old config file, no matter what. And we store the new config inside of that. That happens every single time. Now, if the file or if the config name has changed, then new config path, blah, 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 then we rename it, and then also updates our, I guess, stored configs. And then if the default config for the model has changed, then we update this. And then we have this flag here that stores, like, if something has changed on the metadata, then we should resave our metadata file as well. Otherwise, if you're only updating like your notes or whatever on your presets or your hotkeys, then don't resave your metadata. It's good enough. Okay, so let's try it out. And then we'll probably call it if this works. So hopefully I can call it. So here we go. We have loaded in our model. Here are our presets. So this should still work, just load preset. Oh baby, it works. Description, I don't know, test. Or, I don't know, it's a duck. Say preset. Ah, okay. Invalid config data loaded. Okay, so update preset. Get config as dictionary. Let's see. Config path. Oh. Wait. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Get config as dictionary. Get config as dictionary. Preset. Wait a minute. I'm thinking. So, I need a full path. I feel like I've done this before, though. Yeah. I've done this elsewhere. Where have I done this before? Config data, this one. So get config as dictionary. Kind of gross, but it is what it is. Var config data. Let's comment this out, and they'll just rewrite it really quick. At manager cm get config as dictionary. All right, and then this needs to be cm metadata config preset info element preset name text. Yes, because I have made the horrible mistake of using fields that are stored on other nodes as opposed to just like one global list. Ugh, I need to stop splitting up all my data. I think that's probably one of the things that's making this really hard to maintain, is that the data is all like just everywhere, dude. Absolutely horrible. Oh, and actually, this is wrong, by the way. So, metadata config data, preset name text. Yes, so that should work. Hopefully. Alright, so presets, we can load in the duck. Boom, we can modify the current duck. So you do like test description. I find it helpful to write out the entire data schema for an application. Yeah, that would have helped back when I was first making it. Ah. Oh, CM. Helps you design it. Yeah, well, I think the problem is I didn't really plan out the application. Really, you might have remembered that I just kind of worked off the idea that I wanted to track something in Godot, and then I started building the application around that. You can do it later too. It's more work, but helps shows issues. Yeah, that's kind of somewhat the plan. Or that's what this is. I keep closing Chrome. Stop closing Chrome, me. Draw IO. So it's not really a, a data whatever, data schema. But it's close. It's close. Yeah, so this is the data schema. Well, it's this data flow. And then I can draw up a schema from this, I suppose. So this is the current states. Doesn't really go into detail where all the things are, or what things are really flowing from place to place. It's a good start. Yeah, so I could draw one up for that. And this is the state I want to go to. So I don't usually work too much with data, but I think in this case I will have to because there's just too many things. What I do know is that everything is now stored in config manager as opposed to just something. Never really know. Ah, invalid data point loaded? How? What do you mean you don't work with data? That's all programmers do. Well, I don't work with... So what I mean by that is that generally I just take data and then push it somewhere else. I don't usually store it, right? I don't usually store it and then have to retrieve it. Most of the time I'm just doing transformations on it and then pushing it to another API. And then figuring out why it's not working, etc. And so we take data, you give me data, and I just push it onto someone else who actually stores data, does other stuff with it, right? So yes, technically I do work with data, but I don't work with persistent data too often. I think that's more accurate. Alright, so JSON dictionary, type of data. Oh. Wait. What? Wait, did something break? Oh no. Did something break? I think something broke, and I'm gonna be very sad. Export. I think duck broke. Yeah, the duck broke. Okay. So when I saved it last time, I don't think I saved it properly. So when you save config, yeah, you need to save it as a dictionary. So you need to have the model config. Oh, I see, I see. So I broke it, yeah. So what I did was I stored the dictionary directly, but usually the intended flow is that you load it into a config data and then you export it. So get as dictionary. That's what I need to do, because here I transform the colors and the transforms, into JSON compatible formats that are easy to parse, at least. right? Because usually colors will just store as a vector 4, which is kind of hard. It's not that hard to read, but transforms are hard to parse since that serializes as 3 times 4, 12 numbers. So I don't want to do that. So config, let's see, config path var config config data. Where else is this used? I think this is just the name of the class as well, isn't it? Yeah, it's just config data. We'll call it CD, I suppose. So config data new, right? And then we'll do CD load from dictionary, right? Doesn't this have that ability to do it? Load from JSON, load from dictionary. Yeah, load from dictionary. Yeah. I remember now. Load new config. So CD new config. Then we'll write CD to, is it get as, what did I call it? Get as dictionary. Get as dictionary. Which is, I suppose it doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So I'm taking a dictionary, loading it into a struct, more or less, and then getting it back as a dictionary. So that flow doesn't feel good, but it's necessary, right? Because doing this stores it as a special type of dictionary. We need to transform the original. I had a note for myself. Necessary because we can't just store the raw dictionary. Yeah. All right. So one more time. One more time. Uno más. Un más. So, duck, broken, invalid config data loaded, always good. Oh, because the metadata file is broken. Okay. Okay. Alright, just give me the duck. Give me the duck. He's a big lad. Apply properties. Load model. Users. V's. Nuts. Alicia. VRM. And then we'll take a look. There it is. Apply properties just so we have our preset saved. We can load in the duck again. And then we should probably also refresh presets whenever we apply properties, but we'll get around to it. Test. Save preset. Setup left. Invalid type in function setup left control. Cannot convert argument 1 from string to dictionary. Right. So that's because config data? Is that what we want? We want config data? Yes, we want config data. Config data. So last one. Alright, so let's load in. Boom, boom, boom. Alicia from documents. VRM. Wait for it. There it is. Set as default. It doesn't really matter. Duck. We can change this. Save preset. Wait a minute. Oh. Get node preset data. Wait, what was the error? Jeez. Node not found. duck text scene. Don't I have the toggle name from this? Or I guess I can just grab this, I suppose. Here. So I'm trying not to change too many things. Yeah. Alright. We're so close, I can feel it. We're close. So presets. Duck. Oh, it did save correctly, that's nice. It also saved the hotkey as well. That doesn't seem right. Why'd the hotkey load in like that? Did I don't really know what happened there. That's weird. Save. Okay. Preset info element dot name. Do I not have preset info element? Oh, it's cause Hold on. Is it this one? Config data, config name. It's one of these things that I need to grab data from. I think it's this one. We're just basically just gonna guess until I guess correctly. That's how you know I'm a good programmer. Presets. Duck. This is wrong. We'll figure that out later. Save preset. Left container. Alright, what is inside left container? Good sir. Inner. Outer. Alicia solid. Name has not changed. Config name. Oh, the name will not be correct, right? Config name, yeah, it will have a period in it. I don't know. So as a really quick stopgap so I can stop, we'll do, what is it called? It's as string, right? We'll do replace these with just nothing, right? Because you cannot have periods in the name. And let's add it to do. This is gross, right? But we're just trying to get to feature parity with the old system, and also this new system should just work better, even though we just keep crashing, but let's ignore that. So we can load in the duck. How neat. Nice, it works. Hooray. Now we need to figure out why the description and the hotkey text are being set to the same thing. So inside of preset info display, oh, that's why. Preset description. There's preset hotkey. Yeah, that's what you want. Preset hotkey. Preset hotkey. Yeah, like that. Or preset hotkey just by itself. Yeah, okay. Alright, last one. So we can just edit this one. So it'll be test, ASDF, save. Didn't really load in correctly again. ASDF, save. So we can load the duck, then does this reload? Or are we not able to reload this, I suppose, dynamically? That's a bug, but we're going to call it good enough. I don't think anyone will notice for now. but we'll add a notes just in case, so I don't just absolutely lose my mind when I'm debugging this later. So whenever you update a preset, so to do updating a currently loaded preset doesn't work right now. All right, cool. All right. So let's go ahead and hit it with a git push, git add all at feature parity with the new config manager system. Oh baby, he's done it. It's beautiful. And so we'll go into a GitHub. Hit it with one of these, we'll just merge my own pull request, I suppose. This person just kind of fell away, Elisa. They were helping out with some of the UI stuff, which is neat. But I'm not sure if they're done yet, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. Nice, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. Look at that, files changed, only 18 files. Although I did just add like a bunch of... Well, no, there are a decent amount of changes. The nature of open source, right? Yeah. I mean, I do appreciate the help, so can't complain. It is free work, so. It is free work, and they did I think they did implement like the default model feature for me, so that's always cool. Can't complain. Yeah, so there we go. Merge pull request from myself 21 seconds ago, fresh off the press. And yeah. Now the next thing to do is to rewrite the entire GUI system, so that's gonna be fun. I'll see if I can just knock that out like in my free time, since that's not very fun to watch. Git check out master and git pull. Yeah, there we go. So this should still work. We should be able to load. Godot will freak out a little bit, but that's fine. And yeah, there we go. Should be able to load presets. Oh baby. This takes a little bit, but that's fine. Yeah, okay, cool. All right. Well, that's gonna be it for today. So thanks for tuning in. I will be live Sunday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, working on probably something new. Or not something new, but something different. Probably going back to game dev, since that's a bit more fun. So yeah, I will see you then. Thanks for tuning in. See you later, Knock. Goodbye.